Hello there guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about the upcoming Panasonic S5. I'm going to be showing you my thoughts about this camera, now that we know more information about it and have some images to go over. So this is going to be a new entry level, and I put it like this because it's going to be priced at $2,000, so it's not really that entry level in my opinion, but it's going to be Panasonic's entry level full frame camera for the All-Mount Alliance. This camera is pretty much shaping up to be a pretty great release from what I've seen, but unfortunately the autofocus is still the same DFT technology. But then again, for what you're paying, I think it's, if you put the autofocus aside, it's shaping up to be a pretty great release. So I'm going to be going over it, so I hope you guys enjoy the video. So I am already right here at the All-Mount rumors, the site for the rumors about Panasonic S line of cameras. So here we have the Panasonic S5 full specs and the initial images leaked. So here we have some images for the camera. Here we have it with the 20-60mm kit lens, which is supposed to be the new kit lens for this camera, which is a pretty great lens actually. Yes, it's variable aperture, but then again, it starts at 20mm. I have been asking for so long now for camera companies to release a 20 to something lens. In this case, instead of a 24-70, why not a 20-70 or something like that? This one is pretty close, I guess. It's a 20-60, so it's not a 24. It's not a 20-70, but it's a 20-60, so it's pretty great, especially because of the wide angle. Yes, it's variable aperture. I wish it was f4, but I guess I want to keep it small and compact, and because it's a kit lens, it's of course going to be variable aperture. But I still find it better at the 24-105 because starting at 20mm might not seem like much of a difference, but it does make a difference because those 4 extra millimeters at the wide end do make a huge difference. When you go to wide angle, the wider you go, the more difference it makes. So starting at 20mm is pretty good because for vlogging, for example, it's going to be pretty wide for vlogging. So you're going to be able to vlog without buying an additional lens like the 16-35. Yes, it's variable aperture, but then again, I will use this lens mostly for the wide angle. So you pretty much get a free 20mm lens with this kit. So it's also going to be only 200 extra euros combined with the body. So for $2,200 you get a wide angle lens that's going to be good for vlogging and video shooting. So yeah, there's that. And even though it's variable aperture 3.5, it's not really that bad at wide angle. So yeah. Also, the ergonomics are pretty good. The ergonomics are going to be pretty close to the Panasonic G9 as well. So here we have some of the specs. So it's going to be pretty much the same specs as the Panasonic S1, but it's apparently going to have 4K 60 10-bit 422, which the S1 lacks. So I don't really see the point of getting an S1. Like I said in the previous video, the S1 is pretty much now obsolete because of this camera. The S5 is not only cheaper and smaller, but it's also a little bit better in terms of video compared to the S1. Unless they come out with a new firmware update for the S1, I don't really see that camera selling anymore. The S5 is a really much better camera in my opinion. So yeah, here we have some more pictures as well. Here with a mini tripod, I guess. The battery. So here we have with tripod. As you can see, one of the biggest advantages of this camera compared to the S1 is the flip-out screen. It's now going to have a flip-out screen, which the S1 should have had. I don't know why they went with the tilt screen on the S1. Now, unfortunately, the screen size is smaller at the S1. That was to be expected then, though, because it's an entry-level camera and it's cheaper. But I wish they made the screen bigger. The screen size, as you can see, it's a little bit small on the small size. It's the same size as the G9, the screen, so it's only 3 inch, not 3.2. But I guess it's better because it's a flip-out screen, so for vloggers and YouTubers, it's still gonna be much better than the S1. Here we have the body grips, of course, if you want to make the camera bigger or have better battery life. Here we have it without any mount. So and here we have the back. Now it's pretty close to the G9. Here we have a very positive aspect of it actually. So the ergonomics and what's only out on this camera are much better than the S1. the on-off button, they have changed the on-off button. It now sits on the control, one of the control wheels, so that's pretty great. I wish they made the on-off button on the shutter button like on the G9 and the S1H, but then again, it still is better than the on-off button on the S1 and the S1R, because those cameras, the on-off button really sucks. So at least they made the on-off button like on the GH5. Also, the record button is pretty great now. It's all red, as you can see, so it's pretty great if you want to record. You can find the button to record very easily now, because it's full red like on the GH5S and the S1H. So I really like that. And overall, the ergonomics seem to be pretty great. So here we have it with a 20 to 60mm kit lens. As you can see, it's not really that large, and I have also some page tracking compared to the G9. So here we have it compared to the G9. As you can see, it's a little bit small at the G9. It's even smaller than the G9. Yes, it's a little bit heavier, but then again, this is a full frame camera compared to a Macro Four Thirds camera. It does not have the top LCD display like on the G9, but then again, you don't really need a top LCD screen, because not only does it drain battery, it also is not really that important, especially for videographers. So I really like that they didn't have a top LCD screen, because that way the battery life is better. The battery life on this camera is actually pretty great. It's rated for 440 shots, I believe, and 1500 shots in eco mode. So if you really can get 1500 shots in the power saving mode, that's gonna be pretty awesome. It's gonna be even better than the Sony cameras, so that's gonna be pretty great. And here we have a comparison with the S1. So as you can see, the screen size is not really as big as the S1, unfortunately, but then again, you do get a much smaller camera, and the screen also flips out, unlike on the S1, which only tilts. Also, the record button is better positioned now. It's now on the top compared to the S1, which was near the EVF at the back. So they also improved the record button position as well. So yeah, I mean, this camera is really great in terms of specs and size and stuff and battery life. But unfortunately, it's gonna have the same old DFT technology, and I've seen some people already complaining about that. For the obvious reasons, of course, because DFT sucks for video tracking. People have been begging Panasonic to implement a better video tracking AF, but unfortunately they want to stick with the same old DFT technology. So unfortunately, it's still gonna have the same contrast AF system DFT technology, as you can see here. So it's not gonna have phase detect or time of flight or DP-AF. So the video AF is not gonna be on the level of the Sonys or the Canons or the Nikons or the Fujifilms or the Olympus. But then again, if it is at the very least up even better than the G9 autofocus, I don't really find it that bad. It's not as reliable as the Sony or the Canons, of course, but if you don't move a lot in the frame, it still is much better than some DSLRs from Nikon, for example. So, and they already said that this camera is gonna have a better autofocus. So if they can improve the autofocus a little bit, that's gonna be great. As long as it can keep, should I say, the person face in focus and not really lose it, that's gonna be great. But we're gonna have to see some tests for it. I really hope they can improve the autofocus, because that's been the Achilles heel of Panasonic. Because this camera, like I said, is pretty great. The EVF is the same as the E7 III. It's not as great as the S1, I guess, but then again, it's gonna be cheaper. So yeah, but videographers don't really use EVF that much anyway. So I don't really see this as being that important. So yeah, it's gonna have also 6.5 stops of image stabilization. So it's the same as the G9. It's also gonna have dual ISO like the S1. So overall, this camera is shaping up to be pretty great. It's gonna be $2,000, so it's gonna be the same price as the now rumored Sony A7C. Actually cheaper, because the Sony A7C is actually gonna be more expensive. It's gonna be over $2,000. This camera is gonna be $2,000, body only, $2,200, I believe, with the kit lens, and it's a pretty great kit lens as well. So also take that into consideration. But like I said, it's shaping up to be a pretty great camera. Unfortunately, the DFT technology is going to be what really does not sell this camera. I think the DFT technology is not going to be able to make up for this camera other pretty great specs, because at this price point people demand good video autofocus. So this camera only having contrast detect, I don't really see it selling that well, unfortunately, which is pretty bad, which is pretty shameful for Panasonic, because like I said, people have been begging Panasonic to implement a better autofocus for years now, but they continue with the same old DFT technology, unfortunately. So yeah, overall my thoughts on this camera is that it's gonna be pretty great for videographers and photographers, but if you need the utmost reliable and best autofocus system on the market, it's not really gonna be that great. But we're still gonna have to wait for some tests when it finally releases and people test it in their hands. I really hope, like I said, that Panasonic can improve the autofocus, because this camera, I'm actually excited for this camera. I was more excited about the A5, but now that it's gonna be over $2,000, I'm not really excited anymore about that camera. So this camera, even though it's gonna be $2,000, I know it's gonna be pretty great ergonomically. It's also gonna have a pretty great kit lens as well. It's also gonna have pretty great video, also unlimited recording and no overheating, I'm guessing. So yeah, it's gonna be a pretty great camera. But I'm still gonna wait for some tests to see how the autofocus handles. If the autofocus is at least a little bit reliable, if it doesn't lose the face that much, then I might actually consider getting this camera. But I'm still gonna wait for some further tests and stuff. So yeah, thank you guys for watching the video. Those are pretty much my overall consensus on the Panasonic S5. Pretty great, shaping up to be a pretty great camera. Pretty much a full frame GH5 pretty much. So yeah, thank you guys for watching the video. If you want to see more, you can always visit the channel and subscribe to stay up to date when I release new content. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys once again for watching. Leave a like, dislike, or comment what you thought, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there, and UNHOLY-OMEGA signing out. And please, Panasonic, do not screw up this release, please. If this camera does not improve the autofocus that much, unfortunately the S series is gonna continue to not really sell that well. So please, Panasonic, for the love of God, improve your autofocus system.